G'day friends, and welcome to our Across the Waves Sunday, where Robbie and I share a theme for the month or a product or whatever. So we've been playing with Vellum this month, and today we have another idea on using Vellum. Now, I don't know what Robbie's done, and she doesn't know what I do, so that's the best part. So I'm going to be playing with the Altenew Garden Whispers stamp set and the die set, along with white embossing powder, our VerasMark. Now, I don't have the embossing powder with me, and a piece of vellum. Now, I have, that's the vellum there. Not sure whether you can see that. There you go. It's clear, well, see-through, and it's a little bit thinner than cardboard. Okay, or cardstock. Okie dokie. Now, I have already pre-done mine. So what I did, I stamped the piece of vellum with VerasMark. You can do it a couple of times to make sure that you've really covered it, but I always make sure that my VerasMark is really, really juicy, so that helps. Or you can stamp it a couple of times. Okay, then I poured over some white embossing powder and then heat set it with the heat tool. Now, when I heat set, I always come from the back first, and then I'll flick it over and then come from the front, and then just slowly take my heat tool across the page or the cardstock. That way you know that it's not going to burn and you're not holding it in one spot. Hold it in one spot too long, you can burn it. Okay, if your paper starts to warp, just hit it from the back again. Okie dokie. I hope that's a little bit clear. Then what I've done is I've embossed a piece of basic white or white cardstock with I think it's a subtle embossing folder. It was one that Stamping had years ago, and I've just kept it. I just like it. So that's what I've done, and then I thought what we might do is just stick this on the front like that. Now, it's going to be a very easy, simple card, but they're sometimes the best. Now, when you adhere vellum, you can sometimes see glue from behind. Okay, so what I tend to do, is that the right side yet? I put glue in areas where you're not going to be able to see it. So for example, along the embossed lines in the center of the flowers. So I just put tiny little drops here and there. So I'm just randomly adding small areas or small amounts of glue to areas that I know we're not going to be able to see. You don't have to do it all the way through. You can let it hang loose and just add your glue to the centre of the flowers if you like. Everyone's a little bit different, so you do what suits you and what you're happiest with. I think that should do us. Okay, let's see how we go there. And we're just going to flick it over now. Now, I'm not putting the whole image onto my cardstock. I'm just going to randomly do it like that. And then we're going to press down. Okay, just like that. Now I could have embossed this with a different colour or coloured embossing powder if I wanted to, and that would give it a different look again. Okay, now these pieces we could fold over like that, and that will attach it even more or hold it even more. But I think what I'll do, actually, we could do that. Let's do that. I'm just going to grab a bone folder and I'm just going to actually, why don't I come in from this side? I'm just going to burnish along that fold there. And what we can do then, some has already stuck down, add a little bit more glue. It doesn't matter how much you add, doesn't matter if you, we can see it because, but we're not actually going to see it from the other side. There you go. Or you could have just chopped that off. Okay, so we're going to do this one. That just gives it a little bit more, makes it a little bit more secure, right? Then the bottom, all we're going to do is grab our scissors and we're just going to trim along the bottom. Actually, we could even grab our trimmer. Just be very careful though that you don't rip your cardstock, okay? I've just got a little couple of pieces that are overhanging. Just like that. And look at that. Done. Now you could have added coloured cardstock behind here or coloured paper if you wanted to, or even coloured cardstock, yes. But I'm going to keep it white. Then what we're going to do is layer this onto a piece of black and that will pop it. Look at that. Beautiful. I love black and white together. Doesn't outdate, never get sick of it, or even just one colour behind. Just going to put a little bit of blue. So this is just your basic embossing, or heat embossing vellum. And just gently press down. We'll bring in our card base and we'll furnish along that scored line, eh? Do I do with the button folder? Just gently. I always do both sides. And that's done. Then we can put this to our base card. And our base card is just white. Again, you could easily add a coloured base card, but I just love black and white. There you go. Look at that. Then what I've got is a sentiment sheet. Now this sentiment sheet is from Paper Rose Studio in Australia, South Australia. And all we're going to do is, I might use this one, eh? We're just going to chop this back. And I'm going to chop off a little bit from the bottom as well. That's better. I'm going to chop some of the sides off. And of course I can never cut a straight line. Now this isn't going to fit across the card, okay? It would have if we had gone that way, but what we're going to do is randomly chop this into pieces. And I should have done this before we did it too. To cover up the white cut sides, I just grab a marker, permanent marker, whoops, might move that out the way, and I just go around all four sides on each piece. It would have been easier to do the longer sides before I chopped it, but sometimes you never think of those things until after you've done it. If you're using a Copic, just be very gentle with it because you don't want to ruin the nib. I just don't have a permanent black marker, that's all. Otherwise I'd be using that. So I'm thinking we can then, we don't have to put these straight anyhow. Something like that. I'm going to chop a little bit off this bottom. I'm just going to see how it goes. Just a little bit too wide for me. That's better. And I'll do the others. And I'll just use the scissors for this one. Okay, so we're going to pop this up, eh? Where's our dimensionals? And I'm just going to use the sides so that we've got one piece. And it will give it a little bit more stability, or make it feel a little bit secure. Just like that, and then we need a little one for our A. Might be too big. Okie dokie. Okay. I'm going to put these straight, I think, because it's such a, looks more like a formal card, and that's crooked. I'm not going to stick that down yet. I've just got those sitting there for the moment. I think I've chopped this crooked, that's why it looks crooked. Yep. Let's see if we can fix this. I've made that worse, I think. That's better. And we'll just put that right there. I'm not going to stick that down yet. We are just letting it sit there, making sure it's nice and straight, and once you're happy, gently press down, eh? And then for the inside, I thought what we'd do is just leave the inside blank, although in saying that, I have this piece. This piece. Now, we're going to leave this blank, eh? I think it'll look nicer. You can decorate it if you wanted to. You can stamp inside. You could emboss with an embossing folder if you wanted to. Add some pattern paper, but in this instance we're going to leave it blank. I may even add a strip of the same embossing that's been embossed with the same embossing folder. I may even do that actually. And that'll just tie it all in. And I'll do the same for the envelope. So I'll just emboss a strip for the envelope as well. And I don't even think I'm going to add any embellishments because I think I like it like that. Okay, so that's our card for today. It's embossing, heat embossing with vellum. So be sure to click on the link in the description below to see what Robbie has created today as well. Okay, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it and enjoy your week. See ya. All right.